Today is our lucky day. Why? Because we get to burn stuff. I've had this slash pile here for several years. It's mostly Manzanita on the bottom, with a few sheets of ruined OSB on top of that, and these fresh offcuts from the sawmill that I piled on top just a few days ago. I don't usually burn the offcuts like this, but these ones are full of the flat-headed fir borers that are wiping out the Douglas fir trees in this part of the world. We are going to have a flat-headed fir borer massacre, a flat-headed fir borer barbecue, a flat-headed fir borer, you get the point. Let's light this thing up, which may be a little easier said than done because someone did not cover this pile up before the rains started. Start with a couple pieces of sugar pine fat wood. Yes, I know about drip torches and propane torches and butane torches, but we're going to do this one the old-fashioned way. Not everyone has access to those tools, and sometimes I like to do things the old-fashioned way. Incense cedar for kindling makes good fire starter. This OSB did keep some rain off of them, but it did soak through. Long story short, we were using this OSB for sandblasting containment, and they have a lot of holes in them. This wood's half green. I would rather let wood season before I burn it, but these need to be burned up before the bugs mature and spread to the other trees. Hopefully this Manzanita underneath will burn hot enough to get this stuff started. For those who don't live on the West Coast, don't know what Manzanita is, this is Manzanita, well known for its ability to support fire. This plant is an expert at burning. Speaking of which, I better tend to my fire instead of talking about plants. It's a very dense wood that dries quickly. If you can get it going, it doesn't matter how wet it is, it'll burn. If you can get these small twigs to dry out, they will burn hot. For those in the eastern U.S., think of Osage orange or even hotter than that. This wood was soaked with water. Now it's already starting to take off. We'll pile these up on top to help it get going. Are those fine Manzanita twigs going to burn long enough to get the green fir burning, or will they just burn up quickly before it gets those green offcuts burning hot enough to sustain themselves? There's a lot of this partly green fir on this side. I thought there was going to be a little more difficulty getting this fire to go. If I don't intervene, this could become a very boring video, just watching a fire burn. Well, there's something interesting. The fire has been burning underneath this sheet of OSB for a long time. Both of these pieces of OSB have collapsed after all the hot burning Manzanita burned out from under them. and the top of it is dried. So the fire's dried it out, but it's still not burning. On this side, it eventually burned up. It does burn, just not as well as a lot of other things. I thought maybe there'd be something interesting over here, but there really isn't. It's just stuff burning. This thing is hot. I can't even get hardly 20 feet away from it. If I keep standing here, I'll probably get burned. How about that? This is such a boring fire. I'm stretching and stating the obvious. Fire is hot. Did you know fire is hot? You can't stand next to it because it's hot. I may as well have done a video today watching paint dry. All that hot burning Manzanita that was under that OSB, it's starting to burn down, but the OSB still hasn't caught fire. Someone recently told me in the comments about a study or a test someone did where they were trying to burn OSB, and it's actually hard to get burning. OSB is oriented strand board. That's that flake board where they press a bunch of flakes together. They commonly use it like plywood when building houses. Maybe that can bring you some comfort if your house is sheeted with OSB. It burns, but it doesn't burn that well. Those thicker semi-green Douglas fir offcuts are burning better than the OSB, which is thin and you would think it would dry out quickly. Or I don't know if you would think that, but I would think that. Now I'm really stretching for content. We could twiddle our thumbs. This might have been a good time for a live stream, although I don't know if I can get good enough cell service right here. You could ask me questions like, why are you not wearing Nomex when you're burning? You should be wearing Nomex. That's a good question. I'm glad you asked that. I have been burning piles of slash since I was a little kid. I started doing that with my dad. And in all that time, I've never caught on fire, so I don't need Nomex. Actually, that's not true. I've caught on fire a lot of times. Mostly started by hot things, which are leaves usually. Wildland firefighters know about these. When the fire's burning, the leaves start burning, and the draft lifts them up into the air, so you get hot burning leaves that start raining down on you. Of course they're hot, they're burning. That was redundant. That's one of the reasons I wear a hard hat when I'm burning, so I don't occasionally have that curious singed hair smell every once in a while when a hot thing lands on me. One of the obnoxious things about hot things is when one lands on your neck, goes down your shirt, under your collar, then you do the hot thing dance, which is not unlike the bee dance, which I talked about in a previous video. I got off track. What was I talking about? Why I don't wear Nomex? I don't know, I just wear old clothes that I don't care about. Every time I've caught on fire, what it usually is I start smelling something, and it takes me a little while to remember, what is that smell? Oh, it's burning clothes. And it's usually just a little patch where it starts smoldering a little bit. And all you do is just pat it out, and no problem. I've never actually got burned for my clothes catching on fire. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't wear protective clothing. Always do what the experts tell you to do when it comes to safety, not some guy on YouTube. Now the question is, what's going to be more boring? Watching this fire burn, it's going to take hours, or me rambling here about nonsense? I guess we could get a close-up of the fire. But if I stay here, the camera's going to get too hot, so I got to back up. While we're waiting for this fire to burn down, maybe we could look over the bank here, see what's going on here. That's what it looks like down there. But do you see anything interesting? I don't really see anything down there either, just a bunch of trees. They need to be thinned out. Maybe I should have brought a chainsaw up here. We could thin some of these out. We could take a walk down this road. Maybe that's where the good stuff is. There's sugar pine cones. Sugar pine cones get longer than any pine cone in the world. They can get twice this long. But this is a young tree, so it's not growing very big ones yet. Just like you could pass this like a football. There's a bird. We made it to the end of the road. Still nothing interesting. We saw a sugar pine cone and a bird. We may have been just as well off back at the fire where we started. Let's go see how the fire's doing. Oh. It's trying to hide under all that dirt. Now we're up to a sugar pine cone, a bird, and a big mushroom. That made some progress. Except for this unburned ring around it, all of those bug-infested offcuts are mostly burned. Bunch these together, and then I think those bugs will be officially annihilated. I've been gone for 5 days for Christmas. I was out of town with family. Thanks to all of you who wished me a Merry Christmas in the comments. While I was gone, I got a little behind on replying to comments, but I hope all of you had a good Christmas. After being gone for 5 days, I got a little bit rusty on coming up with good video content. I know I'll do a fire about just lighting a pile of wood on fire. I might do a better job tomorrow, but I don't know if I'll be able to do a video tomorrow. I have jury duty. Not only jury duty, but grand jury duty for the next 2 months. It goes through February. I don't know if these people realize I have videos to make. I think this is about all I can do here. Technically, I think I'm supposed to monitor this fire until it's out. So technically, that's what we'll pretend that I'm going to do. I hope you and your family had a great Christmas. And if jury duty doesn't allow me to do another video between now and New Year's, I'll say it now. Happy New Year! That was a very impotent Happy New Year. I think we need fireworks for that. Happy New Year! That was much better.